This is episode 222 of Zen and the Art of Real Estate Investing with my guest, Stephen Petasky. Stephen is the founder and CEO of the Luxus Group. The Luxus Group aims to provide an overall travel solution for affluent families seeking enhanced vacation experiences. I mean, you're speaking everybody's language of what they want in the future. Luxus Group also includes Luxus Developments, which includes Luxus Restorations, Luxus Vacation Properties, and a special project, the Ena Lake Lodge Private Fishing Club. Stephen, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Jonathan. Fun conversation.
Yeah, well, we were just having fun in the pre-call. I'm like, oh, we better stop this so we can get all this good stuff on the show. But when was the first time that you remember being interested in real estate? Because I know that your parents were interested in this kind of like luxury vacation lifestyle, which led to what you're doing now.
Yeah, no, going way back, my parents were having when they were quite young, late teenagers. So there certainly weren't any, I would say they're high school sweethearts, which was great, but it wasn't planned certainly at that age. And so my parents started from complete nothing, and they built up a business in the grocery business, actually, where their passion was, where they kind of created their path and their career journey in life. And then when they finally came into some money, I might have been about a late teenager by that point. They bought a vacation home in Scottsdale, Arizona. And that was kind of the first thing. Now I was just, very much at the business and trying to be like understanding entrepreneurship. I was very lucky having that as a front row seat to see their struggles and successes and failures along the way. When they bought this piece of real estate, it was really neat because it was, I thought it was purely a lifestyle, but they ended up selling it a few years later and made a really big gain. And it was like, oh, that was interesting. They made some good money on this opportunity. And then I think unintended, but I think as well, my parents were very good at picking the right properties, the right spots, because they did it again and then did it again. And it was never the intention. They always have this lifestyle targeted approach, but also let's make sure this capital we're parking has a chance to appreciate and grow. And so that was kind of the first foray into it, kind of through, call it late teens, early 20s, watching that. And obviously having the wonderful opportunity to travel and experience some of these. I started to develop a bit of a passion for it and said, I love travel already, and just said, well, maybe I should get this game. And then obviously came to a unique opportunity that created Luxus. I think a success is multiple buckets to get in the space. It's not purely, financial return or pardon me, like rental revenue return, it's asset appreciation potential, and of course a lifestyle component. And some people are like, hey, I made lots of money. I just want the home that I want, and the rest doesn't matter to me. Perfect. We're going to put 80% in that bucket and find the perfect home and care a little bit less. If someone's trying to say, I really need to get some asset appreciation out of this, then there's very specific markets, specific communities within those markets that will drive better asset appreciation returns if you just take the time to select correctly. So that's where we've had, probably most of our success over the years has been able to pick those homes, because we've also picked the wrong ones. And as we've had funds, multiple properties and over 100 million under management at one point, it's gonna be a lot bigger soon. But we've also had the ones where we picked a little bit on emotion, didn't think it through, and those ones are worth the same as they were 8 years ago, doubled or tripled in value.
Yeah, and I mean, there's the differentiator, because if you're using it as a short-term rental, you can still maximize the income, and maybe you're not getting the appreciation, but your cash flow is still good. But if you're not using it for cash flow, if you're somebody who's buying a luxury and you're like, hey, I don't want any people staying in my place, and then you don't get the appreciation, then it's a very static, only an enjoyment play, like we were talking about in the beginning.
Nailed it. Exactly. That's exactly right. And everyone's got their own things. And I think that particularly with this is it's not just, I want to say, like, let's just say, I'm just going to generalize that the husband's making the financial decision, but this is a very much a family decision. It's the husband, the wife, the kids are sometimes involved, depends on their age, because you really want to say, if this doesn't perform financially, am I still going to have kick-ass time?
Yeah.
And you want to be able to see if you can check all the boxes at the same time. And that's where it's fun talking to families when we're advising them on opportunities that we might have with us or outside. Is just like, well, what would my kids, actually, they're 18, they're going to be in college next 5 years. They're going to want to come. I'm only going to see them in the summer. So let's have a summer spot that's going to fit what my kids are going to want to bring their friends. They're going to see more of them in the summer. Then we start to think that through to say, maybe it's not a desert property because it's got 120 degrees. Maybe instead it's a ski summer property where the kids are going to come in the summer to the lake, and you want that for that season of life of 5 years to enjoy the time with the kids. So that's all kind of part of like probing questions we do. We were having conversations with clients Should be like, I never thought about that. That's a good point, and then they start to make a better decision.
It's interesting though. A lot of investors who find their kind of thing start with themselves as the avatar. And that's what you did. It's like, hey, what would we need? And then you liked it. So you told a couple of friends and they're like, I mean, that sounds great. We can just kind of rotate between the six of us, these properties, but you're serving an avatar that which helps you build quicker because there's no unknowns. It's like, well, there's a lot of families like us with kids who'd like a nice thing that's kind of well thought out. It seems easy now, but I think, people sometimes they're trying to create a business and they don't even know who the avatar is. So how are you supposed to build a business?
I'm like very passionate about this. You brought up a great topic because I think that when it comes down to trying to solve problems, that's all we're doing as entrepreneurs, right? Solve problems for other people and they pay you to help solve those problems. Is if it's not a problem you're personally passionate about for you or your family or whatever it may be, it's going to be hard to catch up to the world and become like the subject matter expert in that space because, passion, and I'm not saying that you have to be passionate about everything you do, but when it comes to this, I love it. Like, so I got to 10,000 hours in a very compressed time period because I was thinking about it 24/7, constantly. That's all I could think about for years and years and years. And all I still think about. I think I mentor a lot of people, I'm sure as you do as well, is that they're like, well, I'm trying to find the thing. I'm like, well, what's a problem you have in your world that you're trying to solve versus someone else's problem around? And I do think it's a great way, especially for like early starters, because you'll become more proficient quicker because it's a problem you want to solve for yourself.
Yeah. What are you looking forward to in the future? Obviously growing some really big companies and in the luxury space, but is there anything on the horizon that is like kind of something new that you want to do?
Well, one thing my team's done a good job with is rein me in. I think is that I was starting to do too many things and then doing them averagely versus one or two things, doing them well. And so I think for 15, 16 years, we were trying to figure out the things we're good at, and you try lots of things. It kind of goes back to our previous conversation.
Yeah.
Now, as much as, we get lots of opportunities put our way and they're all kind of sexy and fun and cool, we're really focused on Four Seasons and luxury master plan communities. And we're focused on this global short-term rental, branded experience.
Yeah.
And sure, in 5 to 8 years, if they sell or mature or whatever the case is, it'll be a new season. I kind of look at everything in these 7-year increments and now just get hyper focused for 7 years. And then people have a tough time thinking that long though, but I just know from now, next 6, 7 years, I have 2 purposes and that's it. And really my partner runs the development side. He's a 100-hour-a-week guy on that side.
Yeah.
Is that I just want to see these things through for the benefit of the clients and the benefit of our investors and exclusively just give everything I have into that. And if they're successful as we hope they'll be, then there'll be lots of other cool things to do at that time. But I've definitely been able to laser in a bit better since COVID about what we want to accomplish. And I'm proud of that for myself. It's hard as an entrepreneur sometimes to limit what you're doing. So, but I also don't think it's limiting. I think we're going to create a lot of pretty cool jobs and cool projects and opportunities for people.